The morning sun spilled golden light across the city, reflecting off the glass towers and streets buzzing with activity. In the heart of the metropolis stood the Eris Academy of Science, one of the world's most prestigious schools for young minds. Today, the halls were filled with students chatting excitedly about experiments, inventions, and discoveries. Among them was Leora, a quiet but thoughtful girl who always paid attention to details others missed. Leora carried her notebook and a small backpack, her mind already buzzing with ideas about the day's experiment. Today, her class would study a newly discovered energy crystal, a glowing blue mineral that hummed softly, almost as if it were alive. Scientists had been experimenting with it for months, trying to understand its power. The crystal had the potential to generate clean energy for entire cities, but it was unstable and unpredictable. Leora entered the laboratory, a wide room filled with tables, computers, and tools. Her classmates were already there, wearing protective suits and gloves, their faces bright with excitement. Leora smiled at them quietly, nodding to a few she recognized. She preferred to listen rather than speak, but her presence had a calm influence on others. Professor Kellen, a tall man with silver hair and sharp eyes, addressed the class. "Today we will attempt the most controlled energy extraction from the crystal yet," he said. "Remember, the crystal is powerful. Respect it, and it will teach you. Misuse it, and, well, you know the drills." The students nodded, some nervously, others confidently. Leora felt a flutter in her chest, a mix of excitement and caution. She loved science, loved discovery, but she also understood risk. She carefully reviewed her notes, double-checked the safety protocols, and adjusted the equipment to precise measurements. As the experiment began, the crystal emitted a soft, pulsating light. It shone in shades of blue and white, casting dancing reflections across the room. The students watched in awe, noting the small vibrations and energy readings. Leora's eyes were wide, but she remained calm. She had a habit of observing before acting, and today that habit would prove crucial. Suddenly, the crystal flickered violently, a sharp sound breaking the hum of machinery. A few students stepped back, alarmed. Professor Kellen's voice rang out, "Stay calm! Follow the emergency protocols!" Before anyone could react further, the crystal erupted in a blinding flash. A surge of energy exploded outward, throwing papers, tools, and students across the room. Alarms blared, and the lab filled with smoke and sparks. Chaos engulfed the students as fear overtook their senses. Leora's heart pounded, but her mind acted faster than her fear. She saw two students pinned under a fallen table, another trapped by a toppled shelf. Without thinking of herself, she ran toward them. She grabbed the nearest student and pushed them out of the path of flying debris. Her own body shielded the others as pieces of shattered glass and metal rained around her. "Get under the table!" she shouted, pulling a smaller student behind her. "Stay close to me!" The explosion's heat singed her hair, but she refused to move away. She felt the vibrations through the floor, felt the room shake, and yet she held her ground. One by one, she guided her classmates to safer spots, braving falling beams and sparks. Every instinct screamed to run, but she could not abandon them. When the main wave of energy passed, the lab was chaos. Smoke filled the air, alarms screeched, and sirens echoed through the academy. Leora coughed, wiping sweat and dust from her eyes. She looked around and counted her classmates, making sure everyone she could see was safe. "Professor, is everyone?" she shouted, her voice trembling. From beneath a pile of debris, Professor Kellen emerged, shaken but alive. He scanned the room, eyes wide, then looked at Leora with a mixture of awe and disbelief. "Leora, you—" he began, but words failed him. Others were emerging too, coughing and covered in dust, but miraculously unharmed. The blast had caused damage, yes, but the students were alive. Everyone had survived. and it was because of Leora. She had instinctively shielded them, taken the brunt of the explosion, and ensured their safety. Emergency crews arrived within minutes. The laboratory was sealed off, and students were guided outside to the open courtyard. Parents and media had already started gathering, drawn by alarms and news reports. Drones hovered overhead, capturing images of the damaged lab and the unscathed students. Among the crowd, whispers of admiration and amazement grew louder. Leora had done something extraordinary. Despite the attention, Leora felt only exhaustion and concern. She walked among her classmates, checking if anyone needed help, making sure no one was missing. She felt a mix of pride and humility. She had acted instinctively, without thought of recognition. But even as she helped her peers, she could not ignore the strange energy lingering in the air. The crystal's explosion had not been ordinary. Sensors recorded anomalies, faint pulses of energy still radiating from the ruins, vibrations in the earth beneath the academy, and unusual signals detected by satellites. Scientists would later call it a miracle, but Leora had felt it instinctively, a strange awareness, as if the world itself had noticed her actions. As night fell, the city slowly returned to calm. The academy was closed, investigations began, and Leora returned home, tired but alert. She could not sleep, her mind replaying the day's events, the blinding light, the chaos, the fear, and her own resolve to protect her classmates. Somewhere deep inside, she felt that this was only the beginning. The universe had watched her, and something had taken notice of humanity's courage. Leora looked out her window at the stars, bright and infinite. She wondered what waited beyond them, and whether humanity was truly ready for the challenges to come. She did not know the answers, but she knew this. When faced with danger, when the odds seemed impossible, she, and humanity, would rise. And in that moment, the first seed of a legend was planted. The morning after the explosion, the city was still buzzing with news of the miraculous survival. Media drones hovered over the Eris Academy, capturing footage of the damaged laboratory and the uninjured students. Across the city, people whispered about the young girl who had shielded her classmates, a girl whose bravery had saved lives. That girl was Leora. Leora walked through the academy courtyard, her backpack slung over one shoulder. She kept her head down, quietly observing the cleanup crews working around the shattered lab. Dust still hung in the air, and the hum of energy from the crystal could be faintly felt, like a heartbeat beneath the city. Students were talking in hushed tones, glancing at her with awe and admiration, but Leora focused on the task ahead, making sure her classmates were all right. "Leora, are you okay?" a voice called. It was Carrie, her best friend. Carrie's face was smudged with dust, but her eyes were bright with concern. "I'm fine," Leora replied softly, brushing some dust from her sleeve. "But we need to make sure everyone else is safe. Some students were hit harder than others." Carrie nodded, and together they began checking on classmates, helping them to medical stations set up by emergency teams. The academy had its own paramedics and security, but the sudden explosion had tested everyone's limits. It was only because of Leora's quick thinking that no lives were lost. By midday, news reports had reached global audiences. Television screens, news websites, and social media were flooded with stories praising the girl who had acted without hesitation. "Student saves class from explosion," one headline read. Another added, "Human courage on display." Despite all the attention, Leora remained humble. She knew that many other students had been in danger, and she could not stop thinking about them. Later, she was called into a meeting with Professor Kellen and several scientists studying the crystal. The room smelled faintly of burnt metal and ozone. Screens displayed energy readings, satellite images, and graphs showing unusual activity around the academy. "Leora," Professor Kellen began, What you did yesterday was beyond brave, but we also need your insight. You were at the center of the explosion. You observed the crystal's behavior. Did anything feel unusual? Leora nodded, her brow furrowed. Yes, even after the explosion, I felt something like the crystal was still alive. It sent out energy pulses, not dangerous ones, just signals. Something different from anything I've felt before. The scientists exchanged glances. One of them, Dr. Myers, tapped a tablet, showing readings from satellites and energy detectors. She's right, he said. After the blast, the crystal continued to emit faint, low-frequency pulses. They're detectable in orbit and even in some deep space monitoring systems. This is highly unusual for a crystal of this kind. Do you think someone or something noticed? Leora asked quietly. Professor Kellen considered the question. It's possible. Humans have always sent signals into space, intentionally or not. But these pulses, they are unlike normal communications. Whatever detected them may have been curious or impressed. Leora felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement. She had saved lives, yes, but now she wondered if her actions had caught the attention of forces far beyond Earth. She looked out the window, thinking of the stars that stretched across the sky. Somehow, she sensed that humanity's story was about to change. Over the next few days, life at the academy returned slowly to routine. Classes resumed, though safety protocols were stricter than ever. The destroyed laboratory was cordoned off, and scientists worked tirelessly to understand the crystal's behavior. Leora continued her studies, helping where she could, but she noticed a new energy in the air. Her classmates looked at her differently, not just with gratitude, but with a growing admiration. She was no longer just a student, she was a symbol of courage. Yet Leora could not forget the strange signals. At night, when the city was quiet, she would sit by her window and stare at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the atmosphere and the familiar planets, something or someone was aware of her. Aware of humanity's ability to rise to challenges. She felt both awe and responsibility. If humans were being watched, their actions could shape how others saw them in the universe. One evening, as she studied energy patterns on her personal tablet, her father walked in. Jonas, a scientist himself, looked worried but proud. "You've been working late again," he said. "You should rest, Leora. Yesterday, what you did, it's extraordinary. The whole city is talking about it. Even government officials reached out." "I know," Leora said, her voice quiet. "But I can't stop thinking about the crystal. The signals, they weren't normal. I think someone or something is watching, and it might be more than curiosity." Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then you do what humans always do, Leora. You learn, you prepare, and you face it with courage. You've already proven that bravery isn't about fear. It's about action when it matters most." Those words stayed with her. In the coming weeks, scientists from around the world requested her input. Her observations from the explosion became crucial in understanding the crystal. She explained patterns others had missed, and slowly, her name began to appear in scientific journals and reports. But for Leora, the work was not about recognition. It was about ensuring humanity's safety and understanding the universe's mysteries. Then came the first public announcement from global space agencies. Unusual signals from near-Earth orbit were detected shortly after the explosion. The signals seemed artificial and intelligent. Scientists speculated that an advanced civilization might be observing Earth. The world was fascinated, and Leora realized that her actions had inadvertently become a message to the stars. Humans were courageous, resourceful, and resilient. Despite the excitement, not everyone was calm. Some governments and organizations feared the unknown watchers. Plans were drafted for communication and defense, but Leora's focus remained on understanding, not fear. She met with engineers, physicists, and even artificial intelligence specialists to study the energy pulses. Every night she returned to her window, staring at the stars and wondering what lay beyond. Her classmates, inspired by her example, began helping as well. The academy became a hub of learning and preparation, a place where young minds dreamed of reaching beyond Earth. Leora, despite her modesty, became a leader, not through titles, but through courage and action. She understood something profound. Humanity's strength was not in weapons or technology alone, but in the courage to face danger, the willingness to protect others, and the drive to learn and adapt. As the weeks passed, life settled into a new rhythm. Leora continued her studies, assisted in research, and helped mentor younger students. Yet the sense of wonder never left her. Every day reminded her that the explosion was only the beginning, that humanity was being observed, and that the universe might soon test them in ways no one could imagine. One night, as she looked up at the sky, a faint shimmer of light danced across the horizon. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but Leora felt it with certainty. Something was out there, watching. Something had noticed the courage of a single human girl, and through her, the potential of all humanity. And in that moment, Leora understood. This was no longer just a story of survival. It was the beginning of humanity's introduction to the wider universe, and she had a part to play in shaping it. Weeks had passed since the explosion at Eris Academy, but the world had not forgotten the girl who had saved her classmates. Leora had returned to her studies, quietly working alongside scientists and engineers, but now her life had changed in ways she never expected. People watched her with respect, and international organizations invited her to share her insights on the mysterious energy crystal. Even more extraordinary, the signals from the crystal had not gone unnoticed. Advanced alien civilizations, long observing the galaxy from a distance, had detected the energy pulses. To them, Leora's actions and the survival of her classmates were more than a mere accident. These aliens, ancient and intelligent, were used to seeing species rise and fall across the stars. But humans? They were unusual, resourceful, brave. And now, through Leora, they had seen the spark of courage that no technology alone could create. One morning, Leora received a message unlike any she had seen before. It came through a secure scientific channel in a format designed to communicate with intelligent beings. She stared at the screen in disbelief. An invitation from an interstellar research delegation requesting her presence on Earth for observation and collaboration. Her parents, although proud, were cautious. "Leora," her father said, "this is unprecedented. You've been recognized not just by humans, but by beings we can barely imagine. It could be dangerous, but it could also change everything." Leora nodded, a mixture of nervousness and determination in her eyes. "I understand, Father, but I think this is important. We have a chance to show who humanity truly is. I can't ignore that." The delegation arrived within days. They were unlike anything Leora had imagined. Tall, luminous beings, shimmering with colors that shifted like liquid light. They moved gracefully, their voices melodic yet incomprehensible at first. Translators and artificial intelligence helped bridge the gap, but their presence alone was awe-inspiring. During the initial meeting, the aliens observed humans quietly, taking notes on behavior, problem-solving, and emotional responses. Leora spoke calmly, explaining the crystal, the explosion, and her own actions. "I didn't think about being a hero," she said. "I just wanted to make sure everyone survived. That's what we do. We protect each other." The aliens paused. One of them, taller than the others and with a light that pulsed gently like a heartbeat, spoke through the translator. Curious, fragile, yet fearless, willing to face danger for the lives of others. Such behavior is rare. Your species may have potential we did not anticipate. Leora felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. The aliens were not just observing, they were learning, evaluating humanity's strength, character, and potential. She realized that the courage she had shown during the explosion was now a symbol, a signal to the universe that humans were more than their technology or numbers. They had spirit, empathy, and resolve. Over the next weeks, Leora worked closely with the delegation. She shared insights on human behavior, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving. In turn, the aliens introduced her to advanced technology and scientific concepts beyond Earth's current understanding. Leora absorbed every lesson with excitement, realizing that knowledge and courage could combine to make humanity stronger than anyone had imagined. Meanwhile, other humans observed these interactions. Scientists, engineers, and students began to realize that Leora's actions had shifted perceptions not just locally but across the galaxy. Her courage had become a bridge between species, showing that bravery and selflessness were qualities that mattered, even among civilizations millions of light years away. One evening, after a long day of collaboration, Leora walked alone to the academy courtyard. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the city. She thought about the explosion, the fear, and the instinct that had driven her to protect her classmates. Back then, she had acted without thinking of recognition. Now the entire universe had noticed. "Do you ever wonder," she whispered to herself, "what else is out there? And if humanity can truly rise to meet it?" Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime on her tablet. A new message from the alien delegation appeared. Observation complete. Assessment. Courage confirmed. Potential noted. Humanity will be invited to participate in interstellar trials. Leora's heart raced. Trials? Tests? She did not yet understand the scale, but she knew one thing. The universe was offering humanity a chance to step beyond Earth, to prove itself not just as survivors, but as capable, intelligent, and brave beings. The next day, a meeting was held at a global space agency. Humans from multiple nations gathered, along with the alien delegation. Leora was asked to speak. She stood before the room, calm but determined. "Yesterday, today, and tomorrow," she began, "humans have faced challenges. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the fastest, the smartest, or the most powerful. But we have courage. We protect each other. We learn. We adapt. And we do not give up. That is why I believe humanity has potential, and that potential must be used wisely." The delegation listened silently. Their translator pulsed with each word, interpreting not only meaning but emotional intent. The head of the delegation, the one with the soft, heartbeat-like glow, nodded slowly. "Your species is unpredictable, but admirable. We shall watch closely, and we shall offer opportunities to prove yourselves further. This trial, this invitation, will test your courage, intellect, and unity." Leora felt a shiver of excitement and responsibility. The universe had taken notice of humanity, and through her actions, she had become a symbol. But she knew this was only the beginning. There would be tests, challenges, and dangers, but she believed humans could rise to meet them. In the weeks that followed, Leora helped prepare humanity for its first interstellar engagement. Engineers designed communication arrays, students created simulations, and scientists studied energy patterns from the crystal and other cosmic phenomena. Leora's calm leadership inspired others. She did not command with authority, but with example, courage, curiosity, and determination. One night, while watching the stars shimmer above the city, Leora realized how far humanity had come in just a short time. From a single explosion in a classroom, humans had shown that they could rise above fear, protect each other, and catch the attention of beings far older and more advanced than themselves. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, the delegation's assessment continued. They observed, they learned, and they calculated. Through one human girl's courage, the galaxy had seen the potential of an entire species. Leora smiled softly, feeling both pride and humility. Humanity was being noticed, and the future was full of possibilities. She understood that courage alone was not enough. Knowledge, unity, and compassion would be required. But for the first time, she felt certain that humans could rise to the challenge. The universe had sent its first question, and humanity, through Leora, was ready to answer. Months had passed since the alien delegation first arrived on Earth. Humanity had made remarkable progress, guided in part by the insights of Leora. Scientists, engineers, and students collaborated with the visitors, sharing knowledge and learning advanced techniques. The world was buzzing with energy, hope, and anticipation. But even as humanity celebrated its progress, a new challenge was approaching, one that would test courage, unity, and ingenuity like never before. The warning came suddenly. Satellites detected a massive cosmic storm moving toward Earth at unprecedented speed. It was not a normal storm. It was an enormous cloud of charged particles and gravitational turbulence that could destabilize Earth's orbit if it struck directly. Early projections predicted catastrophic damage. Cities destroyed, oceans rising, and entire ecosystems disrupted. Panic spread quickly. Governments and organizations mobilized emergency teams, but the scale of the threat was immense. For the first time, humans realized that courage alone might not be enough. They would need strategy, intelligence, and cooperation across nations and across species. Leora was called to an urgent meeting at the Global Space Command Center, a massive facility built to handle planetary emergencies. The alien delegation was present as well, their glowing forms illuminating the room with shifting colors. Scientists, engineers, and military leaders gathered around large holographic screens showing the approaching storm. Professor Kellen, still a mentor and guide to Leora, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Leora," he said, "this is bigger than anything we've faced before, but I know your courage will help guide humanity. You led during the explosion, and now you can help lead the world." Leora nodded. Her heart raced, but fear did not control her. She had faced danger before, and she knew that courage was about action, not absence of fear. "We need to work together," she said firmly. "This is not just a test of technology, it's a test of who we are as humans. And we're not alone. Our allies are here." The alien delegation assisted in developing a plan. They suggested a combination of advanced shielding technology, precise gravitational calculations, and energy manipulation techniques based on the knowledge of the crystal. Humans would operate the systems, guided by Leora and other leaders, while the aliens provided real-time support and expertise. For days, teams worked tirelessly. Cities mobilized, laboratories ran around the clock, and schools that could spare students sent them to help with simulations and data analysis. Leora led one of the central coordination teams, her calm focus inspiring everyone around her. She reviewed calculations, monitored energy flow, and guided decisions, all while ensuring that communication between human and alien teams was smooth and effective. As the storm approached, tension gripped the planet. People watched the skies nervously, praying that the plan would succeed. Leora stood in the command center, observing the storm's progress on the holographic display. Her pulse quickened, but her mind remained clear. She reminded herself of the explosion months earlier. She had acted to protect her classmates then. Now, she had the chance to protect an entire world. The operation began at dawn. Massive energy shields rose into orbit, powered by a combination of human ingenuity and alien technology. Satellites adjusted their positions to redirect gravitational turbulence. Ground teams worked in perfect synchronization, ensuring that every calculation was precise. Leora moved between stations, checking progress and giving calm, concise instructions. Then the storm struck. The sky lit up with a violent aurora of charged particles. Waves of energy surged toward Earth, shaking the ground and sending lights flickering across cities. For a moment, it seemed as though the world itself might be torn apart, but the shields held. Energy pulses met resistance, bending, redirecting, and absorbing the storm's force. Humans and aliens alike watched the displays intently, adjusting parameters as needed. Leora's voice rose above the tension, calm and commanding. Shift the energy flow 20 degrees left. Stabilize the shield matrix. Keep the pulse frequency steady. She moved from station to station, offering guidance, reassurance, and encouragement. Her courage was contagious. Teams that had been anxious and unsure now operated with confidence and precision. Hours passed. The storm's intensity was relentless, but the combined efforts of humans and aliens held it at bay. There were moments of panic, a system overload here, a misalignment there, but each time, the teams recovered, guided by careful analysis and Leora's calm leadership. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the storm passed. The skies cleared and Earth's orbit stabilized. People cheered and hugged one another. Cities were safe. Ecosystems remained intact. Humanity had survived a cosmic threat that could have ended life as they knew it. In the aftermath, leaders of nations and members of the alien delegation praised the efforts of humans. But it was Leora who stood out, not for recognition, but for the courage and composure she had displayed under pressure. She had inspired humans to act selflessly, think critically, and collaborate across boundaries. Her bravery, combined with intelligence and empathy, had been the key to survival. As the planet celebrated, Leora looked at the stars. Somewhere, beyond the storm, observers were watching. The same aliens who had detected her during the crystal explosion now witnessed humanity's resilience on a global scale. Through courage, unity, and ingenuity, humans had proven themselves capable of facing extraordinary challenges. Later, in a quiet moment, Leora reflected on the journey. From a single classroom explosion to a planetary crisis, she realized that bravery was not just about action. It was about inspiring others to rise to challenges, to work together, and to never give up, even when the odds seemed impossible. Humanity had taken a giant step forward, and she had been part of it. Her parents visited her that evening. "Leora," her father said softly, "you've done more than anyone could have imagined. You've shown the world what humans are capable of." She shook her head, smiling gently. "I only did what I had to do." Everyone played a part. Humanity did this together. But, yes, maybe this is the start of something bigger. Maybe now, the universe will see what we're truly capable of. And indeed, far beyond the stars, the observers took note. Humanity had faced fear, chaos, and power beyond comprehension, and emerged with courage, intelligence, and unity. Through one girl's bravery, the galaxy had witnessed the strength of an entire species. The legend of Leora and humanity's first planetary challenge was only beginning. The storm had passed, but the universe was vast, filled with wonders and dangers yet unknown, and humanity, led by courage, ingenuity, and the spirit to protect one another, was ready to rise. The world was quiet after the storm. Cities were alive with relief and celebration. But for Leora, the sense of accomplishment was mixed with reflection. Humanity had survived a cosmic challenge that could have destroyed everything. Yet she knew that survival alone was not enough. The universe was vast and mysterious, and their trials were only beginning. Leora walked through the academy courtyard, now repaired and buzzing with students once more. She noticed the young faces, some still afraid, some wide-eyed with curiosity, all inspired by what had happened. She remembered her own fear during the crystal explosion and the storm, and she understood how powerful courage could be when shared. Professor Kellen approached, his expression proud. "Leora," he said softly, "the world recognizes your courage, but the galaxy is taking notice as well. You've shown that bravery, intelligence, and empathy are strengths that matter beyond Earth itself. You are becoming a legend." Leora shook her head, smiling gently. "I didn't do this alone. Every human, every team member, every friend who helped, they all showed courage. If anything, this is a story of humanity, not just me." Yet the galaxy had its own way of recognizing heroism. Days later, a formal announcement came from the interstellar delegation. Humanity had been officially acknowledged as a species worthy of observation, mentorship, and, potentially, collaboration with other civilizations. The recognition was not simply for technology or intellect, it was for the courage and moral strength displayed during the storm and the crystal incident. Humanity had proven that they could face fear, act selflessly, and solve impossible problems together. Leora felt a thrill of pride, tempered with humility. Her name was mentioned as the human who had inspired others, the girl who had shielded her classmates and guided humanity through its first interstellar test. She was invited to speak at global events and interstellar assemblies, but she preferred quiet reflection, helping others, and continuing her studies. Her heroism was not for fame. It was for understanding, protecting, and inspiring. The young girl, who had once simply acted instinctively, now found herself a symbol across Earth and beyond. Children painted pictures of her bravery. Scientists wrote about her calm leadership under pressure. And somewhere in the depths of space, advanced civilizations acknowledged the courage that had defined humanity. One evening, Leora sat on the academy rooftop, gazing at the stars. The sky was clear, filled with twinkling lights that stretched into infinity. She thought of the storm, the explosion, and every challenge she had faced. She thought of her classmates, her family, and every human who had acted with courage. A soft glow appeared nearby. The alien delegation, who had come to Earth as observers and allies, had requested a private message. Through a holographic interface, they conveyed their words, carefully translated, "Leora, through your actions, your species has been recognized as capable of bravery, wisdom, and cooperation. You have inspired not only your people, but all who observe the stars. Humanity's potential is extraordinary. We look forward to what comes next." Leora felt a warmth in her chest. It was more than praise. It was acknowledgement that the universe was watching, that humanity's choices mattered, and that courage could shape destinies far beyond a single planet. She smiled softly. "Then we will continue," she whispered. "We will learn, we will grow, and we will face whatever comes next, with courage, together." In the following months, Earth celebrated the courage of its people. Humanity's achievements during the storm were studied and remembered. Leora's actions during the explosion and the interstellar crisis were recorded in history books, inspiring generations of students and scientists. Her name was officially added to Earth's Legends list, a record honoring individuals whose deeds shaped the destiny of the planet. But the true legend was not just about her, it was about what she represented. Courage under pressure, the willingness to protect others, the ability to work together across differences, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Humanity had risen to the challenge, proving that even in the vastness of the universe, small beings with brave hearts could make a difference. Leora often visited the Academy's science labs, working on new projects and helping students develop their own potential. She shared stories of the crystal and the storm, not for glory, but as lessons. Lessons of observation, preparation, teamwork, and above all, bravery. She emphasized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. The interstellar delegation remained in contact, offering guidance and opportunities for collaboration. Through these interactions, humanity began to understand its place in the galaxy. They were not alone, but they were capable. They could face dangers, solve problems, and inspire respect, even among civilizations far older and more advanced. Leora's legend continued to grow, but she remained grounded. She remembered the moments of fear, the faces of her classmates during the explosion, and the knowledge that one decision could save lives. That memory kept her humble and motivated her to continue learning, teaching, and leading by example. One day, as she walked through the academy gardens, a young student approached her. "Leora," the student asked, eyes wide with admiration, "do you think humans can really face anything in the universe?" Leora knelt down, meeting the student's gaze. She smiled warmly. "Yes," she said softly, "because courage is not just in me or you. It is in all of us. When we protect each other, when we learn together, when we never give up, that is what makes humanity strong, and that strength will take us far." The student nodded, inspired. Around them, the academy buzzed with life, discovery, and hope. Humanity had proven that it could rise to challenges, adapt, and thrive. And through Leora's courage, the species had learned an important truth. Legends are not born from power alone. They are born from bravery, compassion, and the determination to act when it matters most. As night fell, Leora stood once more under the stars, feeling their silent brilliance. Somewhere, beyond Earth, observers watched. Humanity had made its mark. And the girl who had shielded her classmates, the young hero who had faced the explosion and the storm, knew this was only the beginning of a story that would echo across the stars. She smiled, feeling the weight and joy of legacy. The Legends list was not just a record of deeds. It was a reminder of what humans could achieve. And as long as courage guided their hearts, humanity would continue to rise, facing the universe with boldness, wisdom, and hope. Leora took a deep breath, looking at the infinite sky. The stars twinkled like promises, each one a reminder that the universe was vast, full of mysteries, and filled with opportunities. Humanity had survived, learned, and inspired, and through courage, they would continue to write their legend among the stars.